All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rachel Holland, and I'm a realtor with eXp Realty. I have been um, I have been licensed since 2008, and I started my career with listing foreclosures. And then when the foreclosure market started drying up, and it started feeling more like a job um, than what I wanted it to feel like, I moved on to more traditional type sales. And I've really been working this hard for the last, I don't know, about 10, 11 years, doing this full time. And as you can imagine, with this current market that's going on, I've gotten a lot more requests from potential clients to do lease purchase programs. And well, actually, not even programs, they're just calling asking about lease purchases. And years ago, I'm going to be very honest with you. Please, I hope you don't take offense to this, but this is my business. This is how I make my living. This is how I help to feed my family. And the truth of the matter is that rentals really don't pay much for agents, and so. Um, and that's what a lease purchase starts off as a rental. And so I really shied away from it. And then these companies started forming, and they would um, purchase the property for the person, for the tenant, and that allows the real estate agent to get a full commission. And then they would lease the property back to the tenant. And so that's opened up a whole new stream of income, I guess, for agents. And so more and more agents are starting to get into doing lease purchases. But there's some hangups about it that I want you to be aware of. There are definitely some benefits to it, but in my business, um, and every realtor runs their business differently. But in mine, I want my clients to be fully aware of what they're getting themselves into, and to be knowledgeable about the process. So as more and more companies started getting into this, I did start to see the value in it, and I found a comparison of them and just started using that. And so I'm going to share that information with you today. Please understand first that if you are in a position to be able to purchase a home straight out, that is the wisest financial decision. Okay, because remember, these lease purchase companies that run these programs, they're business, and they are about making money. So the price of the home that you're going to get into, it will never go down. Okay, so for example, if you get into a program and they purchase the home for 200,000, and 2 years from now the market goes down, and now that home is only valued at 190, that's a $10,000 gap. And that company is not going to lower the price of the home for you to purchase it. And with some of these companies, you may come off a little worse than what you started with. So I want you to be aware of that. But there are some companies, when I was reading through this process, there are some ways to fill in that gap. And you may not have to come out of pocket with $10,000, but you may have to come out of pocket with some money. So we'll kind of take a look at that. But let's get started. I am recording this. Thank you very much to my friends who are on here um, and are encouraging me on this. So In the Atlanta area, there are 4 lease purchase programs, 4 major ones, I should say. There's Divvy, Home Partners, Dream America, and this is a newer one, this Landis company. These programs are available in other markets. Like my friends who are on here in Texas, I believe most of these are available in Texas, but if you go to the websites, they will tell you. Let me see if I can move this. There we go. So first we'll start off with the cost to apply. Each of them, the majority of them are free to apply to. Home Partners, it has a $75 application fee, but that's after a pre-screening. And make sure you, when you do the pre-screening, it asks you some questions and you have to have the right answers in order to, for that $75 to not be wasted, I guess I could say. But it's not an all-inclusive pre-screening process. So there's still a chance that you might not get approved after you paid the $75, but you definitely can't move much further in the process unless you pay that. So just know it. These other programs, the application process is free. Now, eligible properties. Remember that these are businesses, so they want to get properties that will, that will appreciate over time. Also, that don't have as much repairs that might need to be done, or that would be easy to sell. So, just about any single family home would work. Townhomes, they need to be fee simple, so it cannot be a condo. And a fee simple townhouse means that you own the building and the land. Okay, now traditionally we think of condos as apartments, but there are some townhome communities that you will never own the land, and so that's a condo. For sale by owners are good. You can, you need to talk with your agent to be able to negotiate that. Then this is really important, is that the community allows rentals, because remember, you're going to rent this home after the program purchase it. I found that with Home Partners, they want the property to be under 2 acres and 6 bedrooms or less. The others don't quite have those same things. Now here in Dream America, you see that it says that it's that they will do condos as long as the condos are eligible for FHA financing. Okay, because it's likely the majority of loans that are used to purchase homes are purchased with an FHA loan. So condo communities have to be FHA approved for that. Most of the time you'll find that short sales, foreclosures, properties that need major repairs will not be acceptable to the programs. Okay. Any questions about the type of properties? You can unmute yourselves. Okay. The location is important, because some of these programs, they do restrict locations. So, and one of the programs that does that is Home Partners. Home Partners really purchases homes that are in good school districts. I have a client currently that she's approved for Home Partners and Divvy, and you can apply for them all to see which one works for you. But we found that in the area that she wanted to be in, such as I think she was looking in Riverdale and East Point in the Atlanta area. Home Partners did not have homes in those areas. So now, because she's interested in living in those areas, she's leaning more towards the DV program. Property price, pretty much anything over 100,000. We'll see that Landis and this one is Dream America. They want over 100,000. So Dream America wants 150, and Landis wants at least 110,000. Minimum income required. Anything, pretty much all of these are as long as you make 30,000 or up, and you need to be able to prove income for that. So one of the groups of people that these programs are attractive to is entrepreneurs, because right now it's kind of hard for an entrepreneur to get a loan because you have to plan ahead for that. You need to you have to file your taxes, and there's a certain, you need to show that you have a certain amount of income. And many entrepreneurs, and myself is included in that, I try to write off everything that I can because I'm not trying to pay Uncle Sam. So what I found is that as an entrepreneur, you're going to end up paying that money one way or another, unless you have a spouse that has a W-2 job, or yeah, pretty much, or the other person that's going on the loan with you has a W-2 type job. Because the other programs, they have the other loan type programs, they have higher down payments. Your down payment can be anywhere from 10% to 20%. They have higher interest rates. So you're either going to pay that money in taxes to Uncle Sam, or you're going to pay that money in your for your home loan. So you got to think about that, and you need to really you need to be able to plan ahead if you're an entrepreneur looking to purchase a home. And that may be like 2 years ahead. So these programs may be good for you because you can get into the home that you need and plan your taxes accordingly to be able to get the loan.
Right.
Okay. Also, some of them require you to have money in your savings. Okay. We see in, what is this one again? Dream America, they want you to have at least $5,000 in savings, and Landis wants you to have at least 3,000 in savings. So you do still need to have some money in savings, but just remember that even when you purchase a home, you need to have some money in savings. So that's very important. Any questions so far about what we've already covered?
Good.
All right. So upfront fees or debt to income. Debt to income ratio is very important. There is, debt to income ratio. It's going to be important whether you're getting a loan to purchase the home, or even in these programs. And basically, it's all of them. If you're 45%, and that means if the amount of money that you pay out every month is 45% of the income that you bring in, then that's what they're looking at. Okay, so if over half your check goes out to bills, then that's a concern that they may have. Now with Landis will it does not have a set DTI ratio. They go by they're going to look at you individually and see what it is. Upfront fees, with a loan, your kind of upfront fee might be like your down payment that kind of thing. So with these programs, um, here's the upfront fees. Divvy, they require 2% of the purchase price. So if you're getting a $200,000 home, 2% of that is, and I'm sorry, I am getting a calculator out here to do that, is $4,000. So you you need to know that. Um, Now the nice thing with home partners, you'll see that the upfront fee is 2 months rent and your $75 application fee. So that's one of the things that makes home partners attractive, is because your initial startup is less than these other programs. And you see here with Dream America, it's basically about 4% of the purchase price. And then Landis has a 2% down payment. So you still have to have some money when you do these programs. Um, but some of them, but it is less than if you were purchasing a home. But you see here that with home partners, the startup fee is less. Credit history. Credit history is still important. With these, Divvy wants 12 months of employment. Home partner says no evictions, no pending or open bankruptcies. You can have a short sale or foreclosure. And Dream America, 12 months of on-time housing payments. If you have a bankruptcy, you need to wait 12 months after the discharge before applying with them. And if it's a foreclosure or deed in lieu, you need to wait 24 months. Landis says no evictions, late rent payments, or car repossessions in the last 12 months, no recurring overdraft fees, and student loans must be in good standing. They should not be in default. Any questions about this?
No, ma'am.
All right. Background check. They do background checks. Except for Dream America. However, they, they limit their program to no registered sex offenders. Landis says that they sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So credit score ranges from 500 to 580. Now, many of these programs, such as Divvy, Dream America, and Landis, their main concern is trying to get you into the home. Okay, they want you to buy the home, so they're really looking at your application and saying to themselves, okay, if we get them in here, how soon would they be able to purchase? And Divvy, Dream America, and Landis, I do believe that they have a program in place to be able to help you with, giving you information about how to raise your credit scores and stuff like that, so that you can purchase the home. Home Partners is run pretty much like a rental program. You can rent, and then if you buy it, great. If you don't buy it, that's okay too. The lease term, all of them has to be at least 1 year. But if you purchase the home, for all of them, you can purchase the home at any time, but you're definitely going to sign a 1-year lease. Now, if something happens during that initial 12 months and you don't purchase, then there may be some penalties that you have to take into consideration, and we'll get into those. Actually, right here, Divvy says if you don't buy the home, you are obligated to lease the home for the full 3 years. If you stop paying, Divvy will only refund 50% of the total dollars of equity credits. And we'll go into the equity credits a little further down. Home Partners you can rent for up to 5 years with them, and but you don't have to renew the lease after the initial 12 months. The rent increase will be no more than 3.25 over the last year's rent, so it will go up each year. Dream America, you can buy it anytime, and you can extend for another 12 months with a 5% increase in rent amount and the purchase price. And if you don't exercise your right to purchase before it expires, you'll lose the option payment. So, Dream America, there's an option payment. We'll see what that is a little later down in the sheet. Landis, it looks like the most that they want is 2 years, and the rent is based on market rate. But there is, I think they do have an additional payment in there. We'll look at that. Pets, I have found, one of the things that people have been coming to me about is, their pets and the types of dogs that they have. And a lot of homeowners, landlords are starting to restrict the breeds of dogs that you can have. And that is a concern with some of these programs. As you see, Divvy says no dangerous breeds. And I didn't get the list of that, but I'm sure that's like Rottweilers and Pit Bulls. We'll see what else. Now, Home Partners, they restrict you to 3 pets. Cats or dogs, they can only weigh up to 180 pounds. And they do have a $300 non-refundable pet fee. However, if you purchase the home, then it will be refunded as a credit. With Dream America, pet breed and age, you have to list them on the lease, and that's a non-refundable $250 per pet. And Landis, you can have pets. There are no breed restrictions, and there's no pet fee with Landis. This is the next one. The purchase price escalation is pretty important because remember, I said that the purchase price of the home will never go down like it does on the market. So if Divvy or Home Partners purchase that home for $200,000, then you're going to buy it for no less than $200,000. Okay, and it doesn't matter what the market is doing. So you have to know that. Divvy says there's no change during the 3 years. The price is based on the projection of that home's market value in 3 years. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to determine what the market value is going to be on the home in 3 years, but that's so maybe they're looking at if the home is 200,000, they may project that in 3 years it's going to be worth 250. And so even in year 1, you may be looking at purchasing that home for 250. With Home Partners, it's a predefined price for each year of the lease, 3.5% to 5% yearly increase depending on the region. So every year that you don't purchase, that at least the price of that home is going to increase by 3.5% minimum. Dream America, if you buy the home within 6 months, and I really encourage you to, if you're able to do that, to do it with all of these programs, because hopefully, during that 6 months, the market will not have a drastic change. And so, equity is important when you're purchasing a home, and also just, knowing that it doesn't, that the market hasn't decreased while you're in these leases. So if you buy it within 6 months, you're going to purchase it for 6% above the acquisition cost. That's how much the the company purchased it for. But if it's month 7 and above, then you're looking at a 10% increase, and year 2 rent and option price will increase by 5%. So if you go longer, and that's Dream America. And Landis says if you buy in 12 months, it's 3% above the appraised value at purchase. So, which is kind of good, because if the home that you're purchasing is, if the contract says it's $200, and I mean 200,000, and let's say the appraisal comes in at 205, well, you're coming in with equity, okay, $5,000 of equity. And but the good thing is that and so Landis is saying that they will charge you 3% above the appraised value at purchase. So they're going to look at that 205 and add 3% to that. So maybe that's not so good. Closing costs. Divvy pays, and this is the closing costs and the initial purchase. Okay, so when the company is purchasing the home for you, for most of these, the company pays the closing costs. But remember, you're also giving them, like 2% for most of these programs. So that kind of covers closing costs for that company. It covers some of it. We anticipate closing costs will cost 3% of the purchase price. So if you're purchasing a home for $200,000, then your closing cost is going to be about $6,000. Okay. So Divvy pays the closing costs for the buyer, and the buyer is responsible for lender fees. And Home Partners pays closing costs for initial purchase, but when the buyer is responsible for all closing costs when they buy the property. So when, in 6 months, when you're ready to purchase, you're going to need to have your down payment and your closing costs money together to do it. Dream America pays up to $3,500 for closing costs. Buyers are responsible for all closing costs when they buy the property. So that's what Dream America is doing. And Landis pays closing costs, home inspection, and appraisal for initial purchase, and buyers are responsible for closing costs when they buy. And funds from the down payment fund are used. And we'll talk about these funds for down payment, the down payment fund, in just a moment. So typically with these programs, when they purchase the home, they take care of the closing costs. They'll take care of the cost for the inspection and all of that. But when it's your turn to purchase, then you're going to pay for that stuff. Okay. Equity buildup included in the lease? Yes. Now, what this means is, what the program does is they survey the market and they come up with a market rate for the rent. So let's say the rent on the house is $2,000. So then some of these companies, they're going to tack on some additional funds, such as Divvy. They're saying 25% of the rent payment. So they may increase the rent sum so that you will have this, I call it a forced savings. And many of these programs do, such as Divvy, Dream America, and Landis. They have, it's called a forced, I call it a forced savings. So the rent is basically a little higher than market value. And then they take that amount and they put it in a savings for you so that when you're ready to purchase, you have some funds that you can use. Now, if you decide not to purchase, with some of these programs, you'll lose that money. Now, the company that does not do that is Home Partners. With Home Partners, you have to be responsible enough to be able to save your funds for your purchase. Okay. Any questions about this so far?
Hey, Rachel, I had a question.
Yeah.
Um, what's the general lender cost fees? When you mentioned the lender fee, that you were responsible for it?
When and I can't say that there's a general one, because it depends on the lender that you use. Every lender has their own application fee. They have their own, what else do they call those fees? Origination fee and stuff like that. And that is stuff that you can, you as a consumer, you can shop lenders for that. So when you're talking to lenders, ask them, what's your origination fee? What's the application fee? How much do you charge for appraisals? Generally, appraisals are going to be about $500. So and that again, that's a general number. So, those are some questions that you want to ask your lender. All right. Property inspection and maintenance. For the initial purchase, most of these programs, they pay for the inspection. As far as maintenance is concerned, for the majority, let's see, I didn't get it for Divvy. Home partners, any maintenance issues are taken care of by the company. Home partners is, they're acting like a landlord. So they're going to take care of the property. If the sink breaks, you call them, they'll come and fix it. Now, Dream America, you're responsible for your home maintenance. They'll pay for the inspection and they will share the inspection with you so that you can look at it and decide whether or not you want to continue with that home based on the information on the inspection. And then, after that, you're responsible for taking care of that home. Landis, now they'll split it with you. So if something happens and if it's under $200, it will be covered by you. But if it's something that's over $200, then they'll split the cost with you. All of the programs require rental insurance. And for Divvy, Home Partners, and Dream America, they do report rent payments to the credit bureaus, and that's really good for you, especially if you are, trying to increase your credit score. So that's good. However, Landis does not. And that's basically it. I will send this out to you all. These are the links, and I would really appreciate it if you would sign up. If you're interested in these programs, that you would use these links on here to sign up. Or for home partners, you need to reach out to me, and I can send you the invitation to apply, because that will allow me to work with you as your agent, and it gives me the credit for that. Okay. This is not a comprehensive list of comparisons of these programs. So, there may be some differences, but I try to do it as much as possible. Okay. Any other questions? Did I cover what you needed?
So Rachel, I just have like a general question.
Okay.
So I'm trying to weigh the options between purchasing a house, doing the lease to own program, or renting for another year and doing my own individual saving towards buying a house.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm a college student, so I know they're taking into account loans, even though I haven't started paying back on those yet since I'm still in school. But what would be the most calculated option for a person that does not want to move back home with their parents? So I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it. And my lease where I'm at now isn't up until March, and I have a roommate, but I'm not trying to do another roommate situation for another year. I'm just
Okay. Now, all of these programs require you to have full-time employment.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the first thing that you need to look at. And if you're just kind of trying out living in a house, um, I think that like the Home Partners program would be good, especially if you're not sure of, what the next year is going to hold. Because if you end up getting a job, you know, in another state, at least with Home Partners, you can terminate, after your initial 12 months, and you can get your security deposit back and move on. With some of these other programs, because they have that forced savings, um, you can lose up to half of that money.
Ah, okay. All right. Yeah, I just really don't want to go back home. I've I've had my taste of freedom. I don't want to give it up. So
Yep. I
thank you.
understand. You're welcome. I'm glad you're thinking about purchasing. My next tip for you, as a college student, do you have? I'm going to. Are you a traditional college student? Do you have children? Do you?
I am traditional and untraditional. I don't have any kids. I am 24, but I started college maybe like a year early with
Okay.
the associate. So I'm doing the bachelor. So I have about another year left before I graduate fully. But I am also working full time, a full time job and a part time job while in school. So
Okay. To set yourself up really nice, if you can get a duplex
mhm,
and get a duplex, live on one side and rent out the other side, and that other side could be paying your mortgage. And so then, and you do that for a couple of years, so that when you're ready to move on to a different home, that one can be your rental property, and that helps you to build wealth.
got it. Duplex.
And you're in an excellent position to do that. It being, at your age, you don't have to worry about like I have a husband and 3 kids. We're not living in no duplex right now. That's not gonna work for us.
Yeah, it's just me, myself, and I. So
do,
no pets, no kids, no boyfriend, no nothing. It's just
do it now while your life is simple, because once you start adding people into your life, those kind of decisions become a little more difficult to make, and they can just be a little more uncomfortable to
gotcha.
live with.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All right, if not, thank you all for coming, and please hit my phone number if you don't have it. My phone number is 678-824-4509. That's 678-824-4509, and 824-4509. I put that in the chat for you to have. So please, just reach out if you have any questions. Again, I will send this out, especially since it has those links. I'll send that out to you all, and I'm happy to help you, or help you, plan out how you want to do a home purchase. And if we need to talk about one of these programs to see if it's a good fit for you, I'm happy to do that too. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Thanks.